Okay, hey March class. So, this week in math, we're moving on to chapter 12, which means that we get to start working with numbers to 40, which is exciting. And so, I decided to come out in my porch that we have outside. You can see the snowflakes left from Stassi's frozen party. But in this chapter, there's a few things I want to make sure that we remember how to do before we move into the newer content. And it's not new content; it's the same skills we've been doing, but adding numbers beyond 20. So the first thing you want to make sure you remember how to do is counting on from 10 to 20. Okay, so here you can see you have 10. I very easily see 5 and 5 make 10. So I can think of a tens frame. And what they want you to do is not start here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's kindergarten. You guys need to be able to recognize 10, and you know how to. So you're going to recognize 10 and count on from 10. So 10, 11, 12, 13. Okay? So then you know that your answer is 13. So again, that's counting on from 10, not counting on from 1. Okay, next skill that you need to make sure you remember how to do is reading a place value chart. You guys did this a lot in kindergarten, and we do this continued in first grade. So if you remember, a place value chart looks like this. It has your tens place and your ones place. And what it's asking is 14 is blank tens and blank ones. And I thought this was interesting on a test recently. It had a question like this on there without the visual. And for some reason, several of you focused in on this language and struggled with it. You weren't sure what it was asking you to do. So this is a good reminder, and you need to remember this. This is just identifying place value. Okay, so 14 is, how many tens are in 14? 1 10, and how many ones? 4 ones, okay? And I can easily just look here, right? 1 10 and 4 ones. All right, next thing that you need to remember is when you have a set of numbers and you're comparing them, especially with using a place value chart. So they may give you a place value chart and you have to go ahead and break those numbers apart, and then they're going to ask you questions to compare it. So for example, if you have the number 17, I know 17 is 1 10, 7 ones. I know 14 is 1 10, 4 ones. And I know 19 is 1 10 and 9 ones. And so what that does is it's just helping you organize your data that you have, just like when we did graphs. It's just organizing data so that you can very quickly and easily compare those numbers. So an example question that might be asked and has been asked in the past is, let me look at my book. For example, it says compare the tens. And so you may look at the tens and say, oh, well, the tens are all the same because there's 1 10. Or compare the ones. Well, I see in 14 that there are 3 less ones than in 17 because 4 is 3 less than 7, okay? So let me ask you a question looking at those numbers and just be thinking in your head. So here's your question. How many more ones are there in 19 than 17? So how many more ones are there in 19 than 17? Okay? You should very quickly be able to say, oh, there are 2 more ones in 19 than there are 17. And while that seems so easy, it can be hard for you to say it. So you have to be able to say it. Remember, I always make you come and tell me your thinking, because sometimes your thinking ends up changing your answer. So it's important to verbally talk about your thinking, okay? Let me ask one more question in comparing these numbers. Let's see. What about if I were to ask you to order the numbers from greatest to least So I hear some vocabulary words, greatest, and I hear least. Okay, so if it's greatest to least, greatest means the largest number. So what's the largest number? 19. Good. 19 is the largest number. So you might put 19, comma. What's the next largest number? 17. Yes. Why is 17 the next largest number? Oh, okay, because 17 has 3 more ones than 14. Very good. And then 14 is our smallest or least number out of the 3. Very good. Okay, so just paying attention to that key vocabulary. All right, last thing to just review is going back to patterning. Okay, so you need to be able to understand patterns of smaller numbers because they're going to give you patterns in those larger numbers. So here, I'm going to really pay attention to my tens and my ones. So I've got this pattern, very easy one that you all can do simply. 12, 14, 16, 18. What's happening here? Okay, so I see the tens are all the same, okay? So there's something crazy happening in the ones place. So let's look. What's happening in the ones place? Okay, 2, 4, 6, 8. Oh, I know, those are even numbers, and I know even numbers count by 2. So the pattern is counting by 2. So think about what numbers would come after 18 and what would come before 12. Here, let me just put it. See if you can figure out what 2 numbers come before and what 2 numbers come after. If you need time to work, pause me and then hit play. So take a second to work, pause me if you need to. Okay, so let's look. I know this is 2, 4, 6, 8. I know 10 is next, so a 0. So I know I need a 0, and my ones place is going to change to 20, 18, 19, 20. All right, and then my ones place is going to change to a 2. But look, my 10 stays the same, 22. Did you get that? All right, come on the other end. Okay, I know what comes before 2 is 0. Okay, so my ones place changes and the tens place stays the same. But if I go any less than 10, I'm getting into the ones. So honestly, I'm going to think, I see 0. I'm going to go backward to 8. Now, is there 2 between 8 and 10 and 10 and 12? Yes, you got it. Explain your thinking. Good job. Okay, so you're going to go to the assignment page, and I just made some questions for you to do just to practice these skills, and then we'll go into our next lesson tomorrow. Bye.